It is January 1st, 1987. In a small town in Washington state, two young guys meet in a simple garage. There are only tools, an old amp, a guitar, and an unshakable dream. They felt like outsiders, misunderstood and lost. They've got no money, no connections and no backup plan. But they have a vision. Raw, loud and so intense that no one but them believes in it.
Nirvana.
Fast forward 4 years. With their album Nevermind, they become overnight international superstars. Their rebellion and raw, honest emotions speak to an entire generation, making Nirvana one of the most influential bands of the century. Stories like these, from Kurt Cobain to Eminem to Billie Eilish, continue to inspire millions of artists around the world to write their own. It sounds like the ultimate dream for me and millions of others. Becoming a rock star, pop icon or rapper. Turning raw emotions into music by just using your voice and a few instruments. Mesmerizing massive crowds, touring the world, throwing wild parties and calling that your job. But for us regular folks, it feels impossible. I mean, we can go to school or train to become plumbers, IT specialists or doctors. But who teaches you how to become a rock star or a rapper and turn your dreams into reality? Well, no one. Until now. For years I haven't been able to shake this dream, putting out my own music, performing on stage with passion and reaching thousands of people. But here's the thing, I've never written a song, let alone produced or released one. I don't have Dr. Dre on speed dial and no one ever called me musically gifted. In fact, it's the opposite. I spent half my life listening to teachers and my parents telling me I can sing or that I'm just not the musical type. So does that mean my dream is destined to stay a dream forever? Don't you have to be insanely talented, ridiculously lucky or swimming in cash to become a rock star or a rapper? If there is one thing I've learned over the past years, it's that anything is possible if you just believe in yourself and chase your dreams every single day. And that's why I'm not ready to give up on the dream just yet. Who hasn't fantasized about standing on stage as a pop star and living their dream? But let's be real, only a handful of people seem to have that kind of life handed to them. It feels like this privilege is reserved for the world's most extraordinary individuals. Take Lorde, for example. She hit #1 on the charts at just 16. Billie Eilish released her song at 13 and became an overnight superstar. And Michael Jackson? He signed his first record deal when he was only 9. Some people are just born with a gift. And then there is me. Let's be honest, I'm 25 and I've got none of that. I was never a musical prodigy. Sure, I can play the piano okay and strum a little on the guitar, but I was never really outstanding. No one ever called me talented. And singing? Forget it. Still, the idea of writing my own songs, performing on stage and captivating thousands of fans has always felt like a dream to me. So I taught myself guitar and tried to learn how to sing. But no matter how much I practiced, I got a little bit better, just never good enough. I was miles away from my idols. The dream of standing on stage someday started to feel unreachable. It was like my dream was just too big, like it was impossible. I didn't have talent, so I gave up. I thought I was unlucky, born without the gift. And because of that, my dream would always stay a dream. And I'm not alone. Millions of artists worldwide dream of making a living with their music. Every day, around 100,000 songs get uploaded to Spotify. Many of these artists are insanely talented. They've been mastering their instruments since childhood and writing amazing songs. And still, most of them remain undiscovered. So is it maybe just luck? I mean, there are street musicians out there who can play their instruments better than some of the biggest stars. And yet, they're barely scraping by, while others who can't even sing probably are out there filling stadiums. Apparently, talent alone isn't enough. Something about this just doesn't add up. I dove deeper into the subject and studied the success of numerous artists from around the world. One question kept bothering me. What do the great artists who made it from a garage band or a childhood bedroom to the biggest stages in the world have in common? After long research, I identified 5 key points that seem to apply to almost every successful artist in the music industry. Creativity, their own sound. I believe this is by far the most important and most overlooked. Creativity and authenticity. Sure, I could rent an expensive studio, like lyrics about a luxurious life I don't have, and shoot music videos with rented cars and models dancing around. Basically, fake it till you make it. But then I'd just be the 100th copy. At best, I might have brief success before being replaced by the next one. Realistically, no one would care, because I wouldn't be able to compete with the high-budget productions and established artists. And that house of cards would collapse sooner or later anyway. The ones who truly stand out and stay relevant are these who dare to be different, challenge norms, try new things, and refuse to follow every trend or adapt to the mainstream. Kurt Cobain wrote songs that reflected his anger and vulnerability. Kanye West rapped about the Dowsy face climbing the ranks in the music industry. Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas recorded songs in their bedroom that felt so intimate it's like peeking into their diary. They all share one thing. We humans love music that feels real. We can tell when an artist pours their emotions into their songs because it resonates with us on a deeper level. Their own genre. Over time, by blending various genres, all these artists develop their own unique sound. One that's instantly recognizable today. Billie Eilish combines dark pop with whispery vocals. Kanye West fused hip-hop with soul and gospel, and Nirvana created grunge from punk and alternative rock. As a teenager, I rapped along to Eminem and 21 Pilots, loved great pop music from OneRepublic or Pink, and whenever I wanted to feel truly alive, nothing could beat a good pop punk or rock song from Green Day, Blink-182 or Avril Lavigne. From these and countless other influences, my own sound could eventually emerge. But sound and lyrics are only half the battle, if not less. What's equally, if not more important, is turning music into emotions. Successful artists know. They're not just making music, they are telling stories. Storytelling, more than just music. Every successful artist has themes that drives them. Eminem uses his lyrics to process his tough childhood and battles with society. Taylor Swift turns each of her albums into a chapter of her life, filled with relationships and personal struggles. Green Day channels their critique of society and longing for rebellion and change through their music. We connect to these lyrics because they evoke the same emotions in us that the artists put in their songs. But even with all that, success is never guaranteed. In the music industry, you have to make sure people see and hear you. And The Weeknd knew exactly how to do that. He was completely unknown until he started uploading his first tracks to YouTube anonymously in 2010. And then everything changed. With every new mixtape, he became more and more popular. In just a few years, this once mysterious artist became the most streamed artist on Spotify. A success story no one saw coming. Endurance. The long road to success. But unfortunately, that's more the exception than the rule. Many successful artists worked for years behind the scenes without getting the attention they deserved. Sia, for example, didn't achieve worldwide success as a solo artist until she was 38 years old. Ed Sheeran also spent years basking in touring before the A-Team gave him his breakthrough. It's not enough to create authentic and creative music. You also need the resilience to keep going and continuously reinvent yourself. Image, all in one. In today's music industry, it's no longer enough to just produce a great album. You need to develop a holistic concept that establishes you as a brand and creates an unforgettable image. Successful artists understand they are more than just musicians. They're entrepreneurs, entertainers, and storytellers. Lady Gaga is a prime example. She's not just a talented singer, she's a master of self-presentation. Her unique image, marked by extravagant outfits and controversial performances, has made her one of the most iconic figures in pop culture. Her fans connect with her because she represents being different from the rest. She turned her creativity into a business by keeping her alive as a form of art. What many don't realize is that behind the scenes, there's far more than just the artist. teams of managers, producers and marketing experts working to bring this artist's image and vision to life. Music today is more than just art. It's a business, and every artist must understand this to achieve long-term success. These insights have given me new hope. Even if I wasn't born with a gift, these are all things I can do. I've been telling stories with YouTube videos since I was 13. I always loved being creative and trying new things, and I've been running YouTube as my full-time job for years now, gaining entrepreneurial experience along the way. But I still can't sing, I'm not a pro on any instrument, and I still never written a single song. So is it already too late for me? If so many artists like Billie Eilish or Michael Jackson stood out for their musical talents as kids? When you hear the success stories of these stars, it's easy to assume they were all musical geniuses as kids. But the reality is different. When you actually ask musicians labeled as talented, they often say something completely different.
When people say artists are born with talent, you're not. You have to really learn.
It's true that some people grow up in musical families and have better starting conditions, discovering their talent early in life. But there are just as many who were told they had no talent and only developed their skills later and still achieved massive success. Even the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was considered average as a child. He was told he couldn't sing and wasn't particularly good at guitar. He was even advised, stick to driving a truck because you will never make it as a singer. Thankfully, he didn't take that advice. Jay-Z didn't release his first single until he was 24, my age now. That's relatively late compared to many others. But through hard work, practice and a relentless drive for improvement, he earned his place at the top of the music industry and became one of the most influential rappers of all time. I gave up on my dream because I thought it was too late to start a career as an artist. I believed that since it was never called talented or extremely good at anything musical, I just couldn't make it. But the truth is, you don't have to be born a Mozart. The next Kurt Cobain, Steven Spielberg or Giorgio Armani's are people like you and me. Talent is nothing more than passion and just a drive to keep improving. Everything else, playing instruments, writing and producing songs, singing and performing exceptionally, are skills you can learn just like you learn a profession or how to drive a car. It's easy to call someone a prodigy to avoid admitting that you don't have the courage to try. But in reality, success is less about innate talent and much more about passion, hard work and just the willingness to keep improving. And those are things I can work with. But there's still one problem. Even if talent isn't that important and almost anything can be learned, the question remains: how? After all, there's no degree or formal training program for becoming an artist. Sure, you can study individual instruments or singing, but the path to becoming an artist isn't something you can major in. From my experience, whatever dream you have, you shouldn't focus on the self-proclaimed teachers, but instead look at those who already made it and figure out what they are doing differently. I need role models and try to learn as much as possible from them and draw inspiration from their journey. As Ed and Jay-Z don't seem to reply on my DMs, I need another solution. Luckily, we're living in the 21st century, where education, if you want, can be completely free. And no, I'm not just talking about how we don't have to pay high tuition fees here in Germany, I'm talking about this platform. All you need today is access to the internet, and you've got the vast knowledge of humanity at your fingertips for free. Over the past month, actually years, I've been studying interviews, biographies and tips from countless successful artists around the world on YouTube. I started teaching myself songwriting, music production and new instruments. But I was constantly frustrated how to make this dream come true, standing on a stage and reaching thousands of people with something I love. Everyone's probably thought about a big dream like that at some point. And then let it go, because it just seemed too absurd, too ambitious and unrealistic. That's how it was for me too. No matter how much I wanted it, I just couldn't see a way forward. But the longer I tried to ignore it, the stronger the desire grew. No matter what I did, I couldn't shake this dream. I still didn't know how to make it happen. Until a year ago. I was on a plane to New York City, on my way to the city of dreams. I was exhausted, just trying to catch some sleep, and I closed my eyes. But when I opened them again, I had this idea. An idea that's completely crazy, extremely risky, and maybe a little delusional. But it was a way a way to make my dream of living like a rock star come true. And it's the only path I've been able to see ever since. But every time I even hinted at this idea to anyone, they told me it's unrealistic, I will never make it, you don't have enough skills for that. You need luck and a lot of talent for a life like that. You're just not cut out for it. Everyone around me was skeptical and said, I won't make it. So what do when a dream seems impossible? You give up. Hell no. If there's one thing I've learned over studying all these musicians and the music business, it's this. The most important thing, more than any talent, is to embrace this truth. You have to do what you can't not do. And me, I'm so obsessed with this idea that I can't give up on this dream, not until I've at least tried. So what do when you have a dream that seems impossible? Exactly. You break it down into small, manageable steps that bring you closer to your goal, one step at a time. After countless sleepless nights, that crazy idea eventually became a plan. A plan to take me step by step toward the life I've only been dreaming of so far. I want to learn to write, record and produce my own songs, to tell my story and fulfill the dream my 30-year-old self had. For the past 5 years, I've been waiting for this moment. With the series, I want to achieve nothing less than the biggest dream of my life. Starting now, I will take you along on this journey from my first song to my first music video and hopefully my first live performance. The music industry will probably hate me for this, but I want to prove that anyone can make it from their living room without innate talent, without big connections and without tons of money. I want to prove to myself and to the world that anything is possible if you just believe in it. Enjoy from the living room to the charts. But there is still one more thing I need before I can start writing my own songs. If I want to make not just rap but also pop and rock music, it would be pretty helpful if I could actually sing.
My shadow's only one that walks beside me.
That terrible singing you heard was me 3 years ago. And so many people around me said, you will never be able to sing, give it up, you're just not talented. But what if over the last 3 years I've been working on my voice to prove to everyone once and for all that singing is just another skill that you can learn. Something anyone can learn if they just work on it long enough. Whether it's really that simple or if reality is going to hit me hard again, you will find out in the next episode. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join me on this journey and drop a comment below about your childhood dreams you haven't given up on yet.